Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Inchstones podcast. You know very well that I am one to celebrate the wins of any medium of connectivity. And I know social media gets such a bad rep sometimes, but there really is something special in the environment of special needs parents, and specifically mothers and caregivers on Instagram, where I do a lot of my sharing of the realities of parenting Millie and Mac. And that is how Marie Watkinson came into my life just recently through following and saying, "Hi, I have a son on the spectrum too. I see you and hear you." And gosh, to sound so cliche, it is amazing to get those messages from people. We don't really need much more than going, "I see you." So I felt such a connectivity to you, Marie, immediately, because I think that we get to do this as women and mothers, and especially women and mothers who are entrepreneurs and living outside the confines of just being mothers to neurodiverse children. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us a little bit about your journey as a mother, if you are open to sharing about your son, and how that journey of being his mom, a mother to a child with special needs or neurodiversity, what did that give you as being a business owner, and how that moved you forward?
Okay, well, my son now, Ryan, and he's 16. He is in 11th grade, and he's the joy of my life, the light of my life. Always has, always will. But our journey and his journey is definitely much different. Doesn't look anything like that when I was dreaming about having him or when I was pregnant with, it would be like. And it's bittersweet, and most of it is just amazing and wonderful. And I love him just so much. And there's you know, the what ifs and the pity parties and everything else. But the so if we have to go back here, I've been a massage therapist for 30 years. I've had my own practice. I've done all the things. I've worked in day spas. And about 20 years ago, I started the first mobile spa med company in New
Hmm.
York called Spa Chicks on the Go. And I was still living in Manhattan at the time and grew it into a very successful business. And through that, which is a whole other story, I was reunited with my high school sweetheart in 2005 because I appeared on a reality show. And through that, we got back together. We were engaged like within a year. We moved to Long Island. We had moved to Centerport, New York. And we knew that we wanted to start a family right away as soon as we got married. So when I was pregnant with my son, it was a really difficult pregnancy.
Mm.
Had developed an infection in my tooth, and
Mm.
I would think I was 3 months pregnant. I had to get emergency root canal,
Hmm.
when I was 3 months pregnant, and I had to do that without drugs.
Yes.
And I really thought that actually I was going to be frank, to have a miscarriage and then in
Right.
the
Because it was that.
it was horrifying. My husband was in the waiting room. He said the screams were horrible. And these are all the things you go through your brain when you're
Yes.
like searching for things. I also had a breathing problem, which later was found out after I had my son that I guess I was in congestive heart failure. But they were just like, "Oh, you have allergies or whatever," but because I couldn't breathe. Um, and oddly, when I would look at the sonograms, because you go for your monthly sonogram.
Mhm.
I don't know why. I would look at the sonogram photos and I would say, something doesn't seem right.
Mm.
Now it's not that it's a perfect rendering of
Right.
what it is.
It wasn't that you didn't get the perfect angle of the face or something.
Right, there was just something that I said, "Okay." So I had a C-section in 2009, my beautiful son, and then I saw that the milestones he wasn't meeting the milestones that you had. We didn't I guess we had the internet, but we had the what to expect when you're expecting.
Correct. Yes,
And
exactly.
then What to Expect the First Year, you had that book. And I'm looking and I'm like, "Wait, he's supposed to be holding his head up now? He's not doing that. He's supposed to be rolling over now? He's not doing that." And, I would say to my doctor, the pediatrician, "Do you think he's okay? Should we go for testing?" And she would go, "Nah, he's gonna grow out of it. You don't worry, mom." She just made me out to be one of those,
Justified.
right, one of those moms that were, and I even said to my own mother, "Mom," one day we were like, "Mom, do you
Do you sense anything or
and she said, "You're crazy. There's nothing wrong with him, and, please, you have a beautiful
stop
baby boy."
worrying, beautiful baby, yeah.
Right, like, don't be looking for it. But I
Mhm.
knew. I knew in my heart. I feel like I always knew.
Mother's
Oh,
intuition.
definitely, never underestimate it. Was still going to the pediatrician, and she was still like, "Yeah, he's not walking yet. It's okay." And he was only a year old. And, he was about 14 months old, and he had, like, a really bad fever or cold or
Mhm,
whatever it was. And the typical doctor that I always saw, she was out that day, and
mhm.
instead her colleague was there. So I bring my son in, and I think, he's gonna just, talk about antibiotics or he's sick or whatever, and he is looking at my son. He couldn't care less that my son had a fever, that he just said, "Have you talked about the milestones with, his regular doctor?" And I'm like, "Yeah, she doesn't." He's like, "No." He said, "I see 14-month-old. It's 14-month-old. I've been seeing him every day for years. He is not presenting." He's like, "It doesn't matter that he's sick.
Doesn't matter, yeah.
He's not presenting." And he handed me the card to, I guess, call the county. We live in
Right, the
Suffolk
early
Island.
intervention.
Early intervention. You call now. You call today. He said, "You call today." So I left thinking that I was going to leave with antibiotic, and
For
instead I left
antibiotics,
with this card. And I'm in my car and I'm crying. I'm like, "What? What is?"
I
I was
know.
just dumbfounded. So then you do all the things. You make the phone calls. It's like, okay, we're gonna make the phone calls. We're gonna get all the things and whatever. So now we start the ball rolling, and there's the people that come to the house to evaluate him. There was a lovely doctor that came over to do the neuropsych eval. And the way that it was supposed to happen was that he was supposed to be evaluated by the doctor for the actual, I guess, autism.
Mhm,
He was evaluated by an LT and evaluated by a PT. And the way that the protocol was supposed to be was that whether they found anything or not, which of course they were going to find something, but whatever the answers were, they weren't going to do it over the phone. They were going to do it as a team meeting. So they all
yes.
sit around at the table
Yep.
and discuss, and then each one's going to say what they found. And instead, what happened? And at this point now, I think my son was maybe like 16 months old,
Mhm,
and it was actually just around now, 'cause it's early September, so it's Fashion Week. So I was doing a Fashion Week event.
mhm.
I'm at this hotel in New York City. I was doing creating a beauty suite for someone, and I look down and I see that it's like the main contact from the
Right, like the
county,
case manager or something.
whoever it was. And I remember going into the hallway to take the phone call because I thought she's gonna call me to schedule whatever this
Yeah, the
was.
round table or whatever
Yeah,
that was.
and instead, she drops this bomb on me in the middle of the afternoon. "Hi, just letting you know we got everything back. I thought so. We're giving him the provisional diagnosis of autism, or actually at that point it's OS."
Yeah, yeah, PDNO.
And and I just remember, like, falling to the floor. I'm in this hallway. I'm at work. I just didn't even know. I didn't even know what to do. Like,
I know.
I couldn't go back in the room because I couldn't, you can't, a lot of times in business, or whether you're a
Right.
massage therapist or an event, I have to, you know,
Yeah,
you have to be like
you're
this.
you're representative of who
Yeah,
you
so
want
no
them to
one wants to hear my problems. They're having a good time, and their grand's in there, so I have to just I don't even know what I did. I don't remember if I went home, if I called someone.
Mhm.
I really don't even
Yeah.
remember what had happened. So now I am in this fog, but at the same time, I never knew anything about autism. What did I know? I didn't know. So now I'm buying the books and I'm doing the research. And we have to do this and we have to do that. And I want to get him in a special autism preschool.
Mhm.
And you do all of the things, and you're hanging on everyone's word. maybe has a little bit of experience or knows anything.
I
'Cause at least back then, I mean, now I think it's so much easier for the moms to create that sense of community and,
it's interesting though that you say that because I think that there is a sense of even with all that has changed or maybe more information or communities, what you just said though is that you're waiting for someone to like hand you this guidebook because you're thinking, my heart's in the right place. I'm asking the right questions. Someone, please, I'll do it. Just tell me what to do. Like I will walk through brick walls and across poles. Like you're, you get uh, pockets of support or not. We're just begging for a guidebook because it feels like someone went, your child doesn't exist anymore. The child you thought you had doesn't exist. And you're like, well, then who are they? Tell me who they are.
it it there were from the time he was, I would say, 18 months old when he was first diagnosed, only until recently. I mean, I haven't really gotten the hang of this maybe
Mhm,
until, like, ninth maybe he was in
mhm,
ninth grade or whatever.
mhm,
And I still have my days where I have my pity parties,
mhm.
but it it became I became obsessed. It was my mission. What are we gonna do? What kind of therapies are we gonna try? I knew because 'cause I'm very, like, skeptical and whatever, I'm not gonna go but there's all these people, "Oh, you get these vitamins," and
Right.
I knew 'cause I'm in alternative
Science, yep,
medicine, I
yep.
kind of know, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna not going to do? So he was in one preschool. I didn't agree with the politics and what have you, so I pulled him from one school, got him into another school, which was amazing, and I was finally getting the hang of that, but now we're gonna go into kindergarten, right?
Mhm,
And what does that look like? And is he going to go to a traditional school for kindergarten? Because still at this point, he's 5, he's not potty trained,
mhm,
he's still wearing a pull-up. He has no words. He is stimming.
mhm.
He is, into his videos and things like that, but he's not anywhere like his peers. So I didn't know what that was gonna look like. I didn't know what was going to happen for kindergarten. Um, but it turns out the district that we're in on Long Island, based in Suffolk County, the district is amazing. You know what the heck? I'll just shout it out. Comstock School District.
Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah, and I
Like,
believe mine is
amazing, amazing program, amazing people, like, right from the get-go.
but
So
I have to let me stop you right there because I wanna just 'cause you've hit on something that is such a core theme of what I like to share about stories like this, which is it's not that the support is not wonderful or that the school district is not loving and great and you're so thankful for it. You as a mother are still going through massive transformation at every point that you expected it to be this celebration. My son's going to kindergarten. We're starting into this district I've heard so much about. Everything has shattered to that point. So it doesn't even matter. I always I'm in in New Jersey, we've got wonderful schools for children. And it's more about your experience as a mother of a son with profound needs. You are not the mother you thought you were going to be going into this wonderful school. So that's a mismatch for people because our expectations are shattered. So you're just that's a big thing I talk about a lot is like, why did we condition ourselves to think that phase was owed to us, right?
it's true, there was something about being in the
Yes, like the lobby
so
or like
so
at
he's
school.
gonna go to kindergarten, and we start getting so we figured out that he was gonna be in the special needs class
Mhm.
at a
Yeah.
place. So I'm like, "Okay, let's try this." So I get the letters in the mail and whatever, and we start getting the phone calls because they do the robocalls. It's kindergarten orientation, and it happened that I live in the town where I grew up, even though I moved away, but we came back, so I actually know the
Right.
school he was going to. But I'm like, if this is an orientation and he's in special ed class that has, I think, 6 kids,
Mhm.
the orientation is probably not gonna be for me. It's gonna be all those other wonderful parents who are
Mhm.
and their kids who are in the
Mhm.
neuro,
Yep.
neurotypical classes. And am I going to be able to emotionally handle that? Like, does it
Yes.
even pertain to me? So I literally called up to ask that question. I called the district. There was somebody in the office, and I said, "Look, should I go to this? Is the
Mhm.
information that pertains to me? Are they going?" And they said, "Oh yeah, the teachers come. There's this, there's that. The kids come. All of it. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it. So I go. I sit down in the little auditorium, and they're doing their presentation. And your kid is going to do this, and then she's going to do that, and then we're going to have this, and we're going to have that. And I'm thinking, none of this applies for my son. So now they're matching up. All right, anybody that has Mrs. So and so, you're gonna, go over and she's gonna talk to you, whatever. And I'm looking, and the teacher, there was no one representing the special ed kids, so
Mhm.
the teacher wasn't there. I guess it was right before Labor Day, and no one could answer. I'm like, well, what does a typical day look like for my child,
Right.
the special ed class? And no one could answer that. And they were actually, so I had like a breakdown. I went into the bathroom. I had a breakdown.
Yeah.
All very emotional for me because it was like putting salt in a wound
Mhm.
of like, this is the way that it should have been.
Yes,
But
on top of your
now,
anticipation for this moment, and then being bold enough to say and call yourself out, call attention to yourself and your son and how different this is gonna be. You're met with not only not an answer, but then the fall of the aftermath of the lack of answers and then the spotlight being on you. I mean, there's no way that that emotion can't come out, right?
so the early years as I put them, I'm still here and I'm thriving. So, but I look back and it's like this black cloud. I don't know how I got up in the morning. I don't know. I don't even know what happened. And I'm still was waiting for answers or for someone to say, yes, he's going to speak. No one can, no one has a crystal ball. No one can tell you these things.
Mhm.
It's just like I don't know. So I would just hold my breath every year we'd start and we hope for the best. But the first year he was in kindergarten, he had this amazing teacher who actually got him
Mm,
potty trained. 'Cause that was the
mm,
problem.
mhm.
Like we weren't able to do it at home, but somehow whatever she was doing and whatever we reinforced at home, like that was a really big deal. So it was late, but it happened. Um, we it I would always think in our house, like, maybe it's not I mean, I knew that it was bad, but maybe it's not so bad because then I was trying to get, like, little things out of him. I would get, like,
Mhm.
gestures and the PEX board and whatever. But then whenever we go out into the real world, that's where it would, like, slap me across the face.
Right. Oh,
And
yeah.
yeah, like, that's how it's supposed
Yeah.
to feel. Like,
Yeah.
just the glaring of it all.
The constant mismatch, we as humans are wired to be curious to things that aren't similar. Like, it's like we just that's how our brains work, and it's really emotional when you are not only on the receiving end of that curiosity or stares, that and anticipate that every time you integrate and interact with the world, that will happen.
There's that saying, comparison is the thief of
Thief of
joy.
joy.
So, I can't I don't want to compare my son to anybody else. So it's not,
Yes.
but and especially now that he's like 16 and, kids are dating
Yes.
and he's in 11th grade. So kids are thinking about college and where are they going to go? And there's the party and there's the this. There's always the little times where it gets me, or sometimes I'll just see like a group of kids on bicycles in the neighborhood.
I know.
Don't see too many anymore now. It's not like the
Yeah.
70s. All
Yeah.
these little clusters of kids.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Well, it's and
my heart breaks a
it is.
million times.
It is because it's like it's this fleeting thing of normalcy or again, I call it like this conditioned expectation that that was going to be what I lived day in and day out. Was like, bye mom, see you later, going to town. When that's stripped, when that narrative is redirected differently, it is like, it is a loss. Like it's a loss it's like a loss to what you deeply wanted to experience. And we didn't even realize it. I always think like, I didn't even realize I had such a chokehold on that expectation.
I didn't, when I was growing up, it I mean, I don't think I knew anybody with
I know.
autism, or I guess I don't know. Like, so it just seemed like in my world, well, this is what we're gonna do. And
Exactly. Like this didn't really exist. This wasn't, and again, probably similarly, like it's not that I was naive to think that disabilities didn't exist. It was that I was naive enough to think that all the choices that I made, that would never happen. Right? Like, not to me. No, I'm conscious and loving and very, very smart and capable of this life that I made up in my mind. Yeah. It's so heavy. And it's the sigh, it's everything and it's everything in between, because like you said, it might look like just two kids riding their bikes down the street, but that hits us so deeply when we don't even have that as an option. Like, it's not wrong. It's just like that response of like, oh my God, I don't have.
I'm gonna cry now.
No, no, it's just, it's so personal. It's so emotional. And we don't even realize the expectations of our heart that we put on to this motherhood journey. No one, I just said this in another interview, and I sound like the most broken record. It should be like the title of this podcast. My bingo card did not include two children with non-speaking autism. The bingo card for my life did not include that. That was not even anywhere close. I didn't even know that existed. So my bingo card of hard, my bingo card of life, I laugh at like my postpartum anxiety with my first child, my typical child. I remember thinking, gosh, you really got through that hard part of your life. Good on you, Sarah. Like, you really did it. Like, sit down, Sarah. Like, you need to sit down. This is not, you have no idea. And it was just, I think the humbling or it was very humbling and continues to be, but also it sits so deeply next to like sadness and loss. And I don't know how to convey that to women and mothers that have not experienced that, because it's such a profound loss. But if you never experience it, you don't even realize what you built up. So it seems like what you just said, I didn't even know that would be a part or even an option for my life. And if you don't think that, you will not think about it if it doesn't happen to you.
Right. And even though, like I said earlier, I had my suspicions that something
Hmm.
was up.
Yeah.
Yeah, whenever I look at like the year of like the first year in photos, I always say, well, that was like, pre-autism. Yes, he still had it. I was
Right.
in this I had my beautiful baby, and
Yes.
still is my beautiful baby boy, but I had my,
Yes.
and we had all the dreams and all
Hmm.
the things.
Yes.
And it's not that we don't have dreams anymore, it's just the dreams are really different.
Very
And the
different.
hopes are really
And they
different.
weren't even dreams that you had thought of as a possibility. And I think sometimes it's very hard to articulate that it's not that the dreams that we have now are bad or wrong. It's that when you sit with them, I always think like 16-year-old Sarah to 21-year-old Sarah to 25-year-old Sarah to then first time mother Sarah. It never occurred to me that my dreams would change so vastly, because I don't know who that person is that would have thought that those were dreams to have. Like, I don't know someone, I didn't have a model of that. I didn't experience it. So the shattering of what I lost wasn't wrong. It's just that I never experienced, I never saw or was met with a story of what a successful life can look like, with that being profound autism being a major keystone of life as a mother. And again, it's like it strikes just like your heart at such a core, because you're not even asking for it to be this perfect play, But to know that it's changed so drastically, it really is like being thrown into the jungle and go, well, there's some sort of sustenance here. I'm sure you'll figure it out. You know?
I was at one point in such a bad way. I'm like, I need, and there just wasn't. There were we live near Stony Brook University, so I'm like, well, certainly they must have like support
Exactly. Of
group with the
course they
local
must have.
hospital. And
Yeah.
then like, oh no, we only have support groups starting in September.
Yes.
Like you only hit with this like once a year or something. There wasn't what there is now. Join old groups. So I'm not a particularly religious person, but I'm like, you know what? Maybe let
Mhm.
me. I grew
Yeah.
up Catholic.
Mhm.
Maybe let me try to. I know that there was like a retreat house that was
Mhm. Yes.
run by Catholic nuns, and it's over by the Hudson, or I don't know, maybe Litchfield, Connecticut, whatever it is.
Mhm.
And I'm looking at the programs, and okay, and I'm like, maybe that's what I need. Maybe I need like silence, and I'm gonna go and whatever. So I remember calling someone and saying I would like to book a retreat, and I guess they were trying to get a sense of what I was trying to get out of it.
Yeah.
And I remember crying on the phone and just saying, "I need I don't know what I need, but whatever."
Yeah.
I laugh about this, but they're like, "We don't think we can help you. You sound a little raw." And my
Right.
my my takeaway, I'm like, "Even the nuns don't want me."
Exactly, like,
Like, "I'm
even
even too
women of
much
the
for the
cloth,
nuns." Like, "No."
even the women of the cloth said I'm too much. Oh
I
my
was a
god,
little
that's
I was
hilarious.
a
I mean,
little
I'm
too
sorry,
much for
I'm
them.
Catholic too, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. They're like, "Yeah, we don't
Yeah,
know."
like, "No, we're good.
They're like,
It's
"You
okay."
need something bigger." That's hilarious.
Yes. So, I guess so let me tell you where Ryan is now.
Yes.
So we went from and I have a photo, and I realized I don't this was maybe he was 10 here? Alright, this is him when he
Mm,
was 10, I know.
such a handsome little man.
You. So I'm gonna tell you some wonderful things about my son. He's
Yes.
always smiling. He's always happy, unless he's having
Yeah.
a meltdown, but
Yep.
otherwise, he's got the smile. He's always laughing. And I know all moms, neurotypical or not, you're all gonna hate me. The one thing the gift that my son gave me was the gift of sleep. From the time we're
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
hospital,
Yes.
he's always loved to sleep, and that's
Same
the
with
only
mine.
reason why I'm
Same with
still
mine.
sane.
I agree. It's
And
the
people
only
would say,
thing.
"Oh, you're gonna see, there's gonna be a time, he's gonna be up."
You're like, "Nope."
No, nope. He's like his mother, he loves to sleep, so thank you. Thank you, Ryan, for being a sleeper. He loves music, he loves travel. Our family has, a second home upstate.
Mhm.
He loves it, he just loves to be just with nature and the woods and the quiet, and he loves it. I have another friend who he loves going to the lodge, he loves the beach. Body calms down at the beach.
Yes.
He's like another person, and he loves music, and he loves food. Take
Mhm.
him my husband and I
Yes.
are both foodies,
Mhm.
and he's always been a foodie, so he never had the typical autistic, "I'm just gonna
Yes.
eat 2 things."
Yeah.
He loves it all, except for peaches, he doesn't like peaches.
Nah, it's okay. We'll give it to him.
Um, but where he's at otherwise, he's 6'3", he's over 200 pounds, he's like a gentle giant. He speaks, but not in the way that you think that he would.
Mhm.
So, he is heavily echolalic, which means that he repeats things from television shows
Mhm.
or
Yep.
whatever and tries to put them in appropriate, I guess, situations.
Mhm.
So really, if you're asking him, you could be thrown off because you could be like, "Well, this kid's talking," because he'll recite Shrek or whatever, because that's the way his pathways are.
Mhm.
But then you'll say, "Hey, Ryan, how is your day today?" Not
Yeah. Yep.
the spontaneous speech or him being able to make the sentences. That's where the difficulty is and the hardship. But we figure out a way where he'll maybe start talking or taking something from a show I'm able to read his mind, so, like, it's
Yeah.
less
Yeah.
decoded, and since I'm able to understand him more, like, he was having, the poor kid, no one was understanding him.
Mhm.
He So he'd have these horrible meltdowns, um, which he still has, but not as much, because I guess
Mhm.
he feels like somehow he has, like, an outlet to speak, to somehow convey what it is. But he still needs full assistance, ADL, from being in the bathroom.
Mhm.
He needs assistance with that. Cannot take a shower on his own. He has no concept that we're gonna turn the water on, we're gonna test the water, all of that. Um, so yes, I'm showering a 200-pound, 6'3" man, essentially. He's not able to dress himself, so we still have to do that. We recently we're doing, like, a lot of, neurological testing. So, I guess they quantified it as, severe autism, and they also placed, like, a learning disability in there as well.
Mhm.
A little bit of,
Yeah.
ADHD for some fun,
Yeah.
and all I can do for him is just I'm trying to just figure out what makes you happy
Yes.
and
What's the best
how,
version of yourself?
what is it? And literally, there was, a show on television, I think it was, like, on PBS, it was at least 10, 13, 14 years ago, about different neurotypical people, um, um adults, and how this one man actually, he was brilliant, he was on the spectrum, and he was the one
Mhm.
that, Ace Frehley's guitars for Kiss. He came up
Mhm.
with, guitars of that, but they had, and I'm losing my train of thought, oh my goodness. This one, this man, he was obsessed with vacuums.
Mhm.
Was obsessed with, like, taking them apart and putting them together, and he knew, like, the Hoovers and the this, and he knew the whole history, and he used to go to vacuum museums and just was
Mhm.
obsessed with
Mhm.
it. So for him, and it may not be for somebody else, but for him, the ultimate job was to vacuum at hotels where he wore a backpack vacuum,
Mhm.
and he was doing what he loved, which was he loved everything about vacuuming. And he did it, and he did it well. He probably is still doing it somewhere.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
amazing, if that's what it is. So I'm trying, like, I don't know if he'll ever have a job. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. He has 0 concept of money, numbers. He can count, but so now we're at the point where, yes, he's in 11th grade and
Mhm.
should be looking at colleges and figuring out majors and doing all of that. But what his future looks like is that with our district, and because we live in New York, I believe he's allowed to stay in the district until he's 22.
Mhm.
So what the path will be, I believe, is that next year when he graduates, because that's when
Mhm.
he'll, I guess, walk with a cap and a gown with his class, but it's just mainly he doesn't get a diploma. I
Mhm.
forget what they
Yeah.
call it. Like, it's not
It's a certificate of
it's
something.
like certificate of completion or what have you. But then he's able to stay on within the district, which is what we want, because then if there's any type of vocational training or anything, you kind of want to stay within the district, because then, at 22, then that's a whole other, you know, jumping
Yeah.
off the cliff, but at least now
Yeah.
we have the supports of the school, and I don't know why I did it so early, I don't know how I do it, and I thank God. He was 7 years old, and I'm like, I had to look at the big picture.
Mhm.
He's not growing out of this,
No.
not
Yeah.
anything that we're growing out of.
No.
So I everyone's like, "Oh, you wait till he's 18 to apply for, OUDD and the
Mhm.
Medicaid services and all of that." And I thought, "No, like,
I'll
why not
start.
now? Like, why not apply for it now?"
Yeah.
And that's a whole other process and a whole other
Yeah.
podcast for the drama that they put you through. So 2 years of drama, and I'm sure you've been through it. Like I'm an intelligent person. I have my own business. I know
People,
about
yes,
platforms. I know all the protocol. The system is broken. I don't know what's going on. It should be easy. And there were
it's
so
not.
many
No.
times where I wanted to scream and just be like, "The heck with this! Like, it's not worth it. Like this much aggravation." But then I would, put that aside and then, continue onward because the process was just grueling and aggravating. It was quite the process. But
Hmm.
it took 2 years, but we got in. I have the most amazing care manager and I'm just forgetting her title. She's the one that guides me through everything.
Hmm.
She's just incredibly knowledgeable and wonderful, who also has a son on the spectrum who's a few years older than my son. So she literally goes through everything just before Ryan is. So she's really
Yes,
like a
exactly.
good, like, you know, beacon, to kind of like help me. And so we're really lucky. So now he's vetted in the system because now I'm hearing, and it happened shortly after, now I think that they just don't do it before 18.
Right. No. Yeah.
I mean, it's becoming impossible in their whole thing, everything. So I'm just so glad we have that piece of the puzzle done with.
Hmm.
Um, so then with that, I think before we were talking about like how does this affect your business or how does it just affect like
Yeah.
your day?
Let's really go there because I think that I really try to allow for the specifics to really indicate that the transformation that you've gone through and how it has deeply affected your entire life.
Right.
Not
So
just not
when when I became pregnant, I mean, I don't even know if we really had a plan. Everyone just said it'll work out and everything. I wasn't really sure it was going to work out or whatever.
Mhm.
And then as the first year, my husband's a contractor. He makes his own hours. He,
Mhm.
does whatever. And then with my spa event business,
Mhm.
mainly I can work from home. I'm creating contracts. I'm doing the Zoom calls. I'm, doing pitches, doing podcasts, do all of that for my home office. But then there's the days that you have to physically go in and do the events that that you're doing. So, but it's sporadic for me because some weeks I'll have 7 events in 1 week, and maybe I'm staying in the city, but then I may not have any for, like, 2 or 3 weeks, and then maybe so it's just always this, so the only way that it's worked was that once we knew that my son had the issues and that he had to be in a full-time, Oh, when actually before he was in the full-time, you had to have all the services were done at home. I forgot about that. So you had to see it that came to the home, the OT,
Yeah.
and everybody, came here. So one of us always had to be here and be present. So my husband, who he's just so amazing, and if we thank God there's like a partnership. We've just always just been like, "Okay." He's just like, "I've got it." Or, like, we would do the math, and I'm like, "I can't not do this event or do this." Like, "You're doing the math. Okay, well, you're making more money over there, so you go do that. I'll stay home with Ryan." So, really, my husband was home with him, until he went he had gone to kindergarten because he was there to drive Ryan to school, to pick him up, and, like, do all the things. I still had my own it was easier for me in that way that he was there to help. My mom is nearby. And then for the last few years, maybe it's been the last 7 years, because we have respite workers in ComHab, I've
Mhm.
actually been able to hire my friends' daughters who are
Oh, I
college
love that.
age.
Yeah.
So they knew him anyway, and that's what's helped us, like, "Okay, so and so's gonna get him off the bus because we're both at work, and this person knows him because she's like family, and will take him out for pizza or out to a movie or a walk on the beach or, like, just, get him out of the house and do things or take him to his classes." So that's been an enormous help. And some days I don't you know, some days are easy and some days are really hard because some days I may have a Zoom call scheduled, but he's having a complete meltdown
And he needs you
in the other
so
room
fully.
and he needs me. So sometimes you're trying to navigate that. Or sometimes I'll be in the car and I want to take the work call. And it used to be cute. So I used to say, "Oh,
Right, right. Oh, say hi, Ryan.
you may
Yeah.
sound in the background." But now you don't want to hear, you know,
I
like,
always say it's like you've outgrown cute. We're hitting that phase. We've outgrown being cute.
well, yeah,
And again, that's just like, for better or for worse, you start to not be a toddler anymore. It's not cute.
right. So, and that's the other thing we're navigating as well is that so he is very affectionate and if he likes you, he has an affinity towards you. He'll,
Hmm.
try to grab your hand and he likes to do like little hand games and things like
Hmm.
that. Or he may try to kiss you. Oddly, he likes to smell people's hair or whatever. And it
Yeah.
was really cute when he was 5.
Yep.
But now
It's invasive.
it is invasive. So even for example, I had a dear friend over for dinner the other night. She loves him. And my son was sitting next to her and, doing all the things. I could see after a little bit, I was just putting because I have the empathy of like, okay, she's fine, she seems fine with it, but he really is in her personal space. Is it like it's cute, but like now is it really cute? So I said,
Exactly.
honey, come over here and sit next to me. I think he got like a little upset about that. But it so now I'm trying to I'm struggling with what's appropriate for this
In the
new.
direction of that and how to mother through a phase. I mean, this exact example is so beautifully articulate because it's so specific to you and to Ryan and to your friends that love you like family, but it's also so universal for mothers in situations like ours because what you just described is a situation that no one ever anticipates being an experience they have to navigate in motherhood with a big man teenager. It's just so unfathomable that whenever you get to do it, which I believe that we get to do all of this, I believe it so much because it's allowed me to become, I think, the best version of myself. But when you actually speak it as someone who experiences it similarly in a different, obviously, environment with my children, it really does hit this chord of like, no one ever expects to have that reality. And so it does create slices of pain. It just does.
How old are your children now?
They're 10 and a half and 8. So we have, and the only constant is change. So there's, you know, as I'm sure you could, as with your son being older, I got that first swift kick to my hip when changing his pull up a few days ago, and I got a big old bruise on my hip bone. And that wasn't from roughhousing and playing football with him in the yard. That was from being in bed, changing his pull up so that the feces did not get on his wall. And that truth is hard to have the majority of society and other mothers accept, right? Because it's cute if you were playing tackle football with your 8-year-old and got hurt. It's not really as cute of a story when the bruise is above and you're at the gym and people are like, oh God, what happened? Yeah, my 8-year-old is getting stronger than me. I can't hold him down because there'd be feces on the wall.
Ryan was always a big kid and always really strong. If he was in the middle of a meltdown, even when he was 5, I mean, he had a lot of power in him. And I remember
Mm-hmm.
thinking, because also when I throughout the whole diagnosis and everything, I was eating, so I gained.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I know. Yeah.
So at one point, I was just completely like debilitated, and I was thinking, "Oh my goodness, if I can't handle him now
Mm-hmm.
at this age in this weight, how am I going to handle?" And I didn't know. And so thank God, I like my husband and I, we lost weight and we've been working out because it's almost like like the
You're
big jump. We're
training. Yeah.
training for Ryan.
My partner's at the gym right now because that's what I mean. I'm 42, he's 49, and he's a former Marine. He's a big burly man. And he's been, and, he's always fit, yet the directive of that fitness level now is not about him feeling like a strong alpha. This is solely to be someone who can handle the strength of Mac.
Yeah. And it, yes, I totally understand it.
We have to go, but I want to thank you so much for being so vulnerable about your story. And I think that I hope that the success in your business life only is so deeply reflective of what you've so consciously done in motherhood, because I think that there's a lot that translates that people don't even see, which is a deep resilience and a deep desire for real purpose and finding the traits and the gifts that you have just as Marie beyond being a mother to add to this world. And I hope, but what feels like I can absorb is that, Spot Chick on the Go is not just because Marie came into this world. It's also a reflection of the depth and care of what you've built just as being a mother to someone and a child like Ryan. So I thank you so much for that and for all your reflections here today.
You so much.
Thank you. Well, more stories like this. And until next time on the Inchstones podcast.